get lost in the negativity of risk upon risk upon risk. Please be the voice of reason. What are we missing?
We take risks to evolve. So when we focus on all the bad things around risks, we forget about all the opportunities and why it's important to move forward despite the risk. We have to have a balance between what the risk is and what the reward is. And so when we balance the reward and the risk equation, we can have an intelligent and contextual question about the risks themselves.
There's a lot of noise in the country, in the temperature, but also with the advent of social media. How do we control the narrative?
So first of all, we shouldn't be controlling the narrative. We should be understanding what's really important. So when we have noise, it's important for professional institutes or professionals to be able to distill from the noise and to filter out what's important, and then to focus on the things that you can and should make a difference around, and just ensure that, with social media today, the advent is that everyone who has an opinion now has a platform to voice their opinion. But you still need to, when you're exposed to someone who's contrary or someone who even has a different opinion, to actually try and think about what does it mean for you. I've read somewhere that it says that in today's society, the more we read, the less we think. And it's true. There's so many more sources, or there's so many sources of just information or data, but we don't take the time to really think about what does this mean? Is it true? Have I tested it? Before we just act on things. So in this instantaneous world, we see something and we act, as opposed to seeing something, stopping, thinking about it, and then acting. And I think that's important.
But is there time because of that very reason? Are businesses geared up to be able to think, then act, process, then act?
Well, you must make the time because it's important. In life, whether it's in business life or personal life or professional life, there's many options. And then you've got to learn to say no to certain things, and that's why it's important to have a filter. It's important to have platforms or communities that you can engage with to understand, is this something I should really focus my attention and my resources on? And then choose what's important, what you should say no to, what you should say maybe to, or park. So distill what's important from what's urgent. And no business can tackle everything. You can never have an opinion, you can never be everywhere, but you need to be in the spaces that are important, and you need to influence and lead so that people can follow in what's important to the country or what's important to your business.
Funny that you touch on the country. So South Africans are bombarded with risks in their everyday lives, and there's a danger of becoming more saturated, or a saturated issue. So how do bodies such as IRMSA contribute to generating the conversation points around which we can actively participate and affect change?
So all professional bodies are repositories of knowledge, right? So there's some thought that, in societies we go through cycles, and that many experiences have been experienced before. So an institute, a credible institute that has the trust of the broader society and not just its professions, is a repository of what's gone before and can guide and can also influence this decision making. We've got to be able to be in that position where the voices of the profession can also be heard by the right people making decisions. And that's why professions have a role to play in the broader society.
And where do you see the future role, CRO role, or the risk manager role in the future?
So my view is that risk management, has come a long way from where it was a pure risk transfer role, where we always thought about it as, well, it's a last resort. We think about risks when they happen and not preempting it or thinking about what could possibly happen and how do we prepare for a new context. So the CRO role evolves, like all professions, to be what is needed for today and for the future. So the CRO needs to ensure that they are influencing the decisions of those investment decisions those decisions around the investments we don't make. And that's where they add value, not in doing compliance or making sure that, we did the right thing, but it happened anyway. We need to ensure that we're there when the decisions are made, and we're there when we need to take accountability for when we make the wrong decision, and that we learn from those decisions if we make the wrong ones.